Hey guys, this is Nate the Effin' Great here. Before we get into the episode, I just wanted to take this time to send our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the family of King Kong Bundy, who unfortunately passed away this past week. And it's really just another one of those situations where somebody is taken away from us too soon. And King Kong Bundy is a legend in wrestling. He's done a lot with this business, and he definitely deserves all the praise and all the recognition that he received throughout his career. Like I said before, the thoughts and prayers go out to King Kong Bundy as they still go through this troublesome time. And may us always say, long live the King, King Kong Bundy. You know, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer the fact that they don't have the sirens going off in his theme music. That's just me, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Pro Talk Wrestling, of course a part of the game-changing network. I am indeed Nate the Effing Great. Happy International Women's Day to a lot of women that are out there, and by the time we're recording this, it's probably going to be the day after. Yeah, whatever. And it wouldn't really be International Women's Day unless I was joined by a lovely woman herself, and not only any woman, but a woman who has joined the game-changing network. She's probably going to be a game-changer in and of herself. The one, the only, from Taylor's Talks, the wonderful Taylor Ambrose. How's it going?
Oh, God, I wish that was my last name. Oh, God. Yeah, but no, I do agree with you that the sirens are fucking annoying. It's all get out.
It's kind of like the whole thing with Cesaro, where you know, they had like the Perry Saturn sirens going off, and somehow it seemed like it worked, but after a while it's just like, okay, I'm done. And now we had the whole deal where he did the sirens for Dean Ambrose deal, and then it's like, oh great, what can we look forward to when we hear this? He's dressed like Bane. Okay, it's not too bad. He dropped his pants and he got injections in his butt.
I'm not complaining.
I was about to say, I think that you'd be one of those people that would be like, why is the camera in the wrong angle? Come on, do your job.
It was a nice spot, I think.
Also, before we go into this further, I have to say congratulations to you for reaching 500 subscribers on your YouTube channel. It's a really good accomplishment, and I could tell you right now that probably in a blink of an eye, you'll get your own YouTube play button sooner rather than later.
Oh, that would be so cool. And actually, I just checked my account this morning because later today I'm going to be recording my WrestleMania package video. Ooh. And I'm actually at 614. I don't know how I jumped that quick, but hey, I appreciate anyone who's ever subscribed to me, so that's really cool to me.
Yeah, honestly, that's still a pretty proud accomplishment. Honestly, I'm looking forward to what other videos you have. You mentioned in your latest vlog when you had the 500 celebration deal that you're going to be doing vlogs from WrestleMania, that you'll be doing stuff like that. Also, we'll say this again, you guys, that ACW Water City WrestleCon, April 27th, it's going to be awesome because the Game Changer is going to be there. I will be there, Agent Cooper, Max Beatty, he will be there, a couple of friends will be there, and also one of our new signees, Taylor, I believe that you're going to be there, am I not mistaken?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, no, I should be there. Who was their most recent substitute? Who was, because someone said one of the guys said he couldn't make it due to contractual obligations.
They replaced Jack Swagger, a.k.a. Jake Strong, with Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. John Morrison, a.k.a. Johnny Impact, a.k.a. Johnny Don't Call Me Monday Nitro.
It was actually kind of funny. I was watching yesterday. There was someone tagged me in a video from I want to say it was 2005, 2006 when it was Melina, Johnny Nitro, Morrison, and his tag team partner at the time, and it was him. It was Dean Taylor versus John Moxley.
Oh, well, I could see why you got invested in that.
It's just so weird seeing him with long curly hair, really long curly hair, because it was in a ponytail.
Well, a lot of people do crazy stuff whenever they're in the independent scene. I mean, John Moxley did have, what was it, pink curly hair at one point?
Yes. It was brighter than you think it was in person.
Oh, gosh, I can only imagine. I kind of don't know if I want to imagine, actually.
For a while, it was kind of cool. It was just, because he had been gone for 6 months in Puerto Rico. He had been, I want to say June 2006, he left for Puerto Rico, and then in December 2006 he came back and he had the short pink hair, and then the following week he had it was bright pink.
Oh, okay. Every single time you're saying Puerto Rico, I keep thinking Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean. It's
oh God.
Thankfully, I think that run is done, but I could be completely wrong. God help us, that was a bad time. But let's go from bad times to good times. Let's talk about this week of wrestling. Kicking off a little bit with some of the stories here that happened this week. First things first, the Shield is apparently back, and they really found a way to just build it up and build up the tension to where it's just is everybody going to be going back together? Roman comes out and says, let's get the band back together one more time. Seth Rollins comes out and he's just kind of I don't know. I mean, Dean Ambrose did this when you made the announcement, kind of one of those things where I have issues, and Roman just does his Roman puppy dog eyes, and Seth is just all right, fine, for one night only, we'll do it. And we're trying to figure out, hey, is Dean Ambrose going to do it? But no, we get a tease because Elias decided, hey, remember this? Guitar to the back. We get Dean Ambrose versus Elias later on for the night. But we also get some backstage deals where Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins are basically saying, hey, let's do this. And Dean's just yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. Because it's classic Dino. Dean Ambrose will go on to, unfortunately, lose to Elias, and then almost get beaten down by Drew's crew, is what I'm dubbing them, because, honestly, if they were trying to do, Baron Corbin's squad, or the Lashley gangsters, or something, I don't know. I just like Drew's crew the best. They try to come out and they try to beat down on Dean. No, it was on Seth and Roman, that's right. And then Dean kind of has this deal where he's just damn it, fine! Just goes into the ring, cleans house with Roman and Seth. Then finally we get Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, they do the fist pose in the middle. Dean Ambrose, of course, is just why do you do this to me? And you hear Seth just going, come on. Dean Ambrose finally gives in, does the fist pose in the middle. Yes, the Shield is back, and they will be taking on Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley this Sunday at Fastlane. But, I got to ask you, Taylor, what are your thoughts about the Shield being back for one more run?
It kind of makes me nervous because Dean had said in an interview, I forget how long ago it was, but he said the way that he wants to go out of WWE is that he wants to do a triple threat at WrestleMania for whatever with Seth and Roman. So I'm thinking in my head, well, what the hell, this might be it. But then I'm also thinking, okay, you got the Invisible Universal Champion. And I've heard that they're going to insert Roman in the match, and then it'd be a rematch from WrestleMania 31. But I'm all good with them being reunited. It just, when Seth stabbed Dean and Roman in the back, it took like 3 years before Dean was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, all right, I forgive you. And then Dean does this for like 4 months, and then Seth's like, fine, whatever. Like, that's the only part of the storyline where I'm kind of like, it's kind of lacking that, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I think one of the added elements in here was the fact that they are basically doing this deal because Roman, he came back from his battle with leukemia, and I think it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, we kind of don't want to be the dicks here because this guy, he battled cancer and he won. All right, let's just do this for one deal, and then, you know, after that, then we'll go back to hating each other again, which I guess that is what Seth and Dean are really good at because they put on pretty good matches, to say the least. But yeah, this Sunday, the Shield match with Drew's crew is going to be interesting. A lot of fan theories, including one that was brought on by a friend of mine who basically said that actually Dean would turn on Roman, and it would set up a match between Dean and Roman at WrestleMania, where, you know, Roman would be the face, Dean would be the heel, and that would kind of be his quote-unquote send-off match, was putting Roman over, but also putting on a great match with them. And honestly, Dean and Roman do really good matches there. But I don't know. Would you be okay with a Dean and Roman match at Mania?
Yeah, I would be okay with that. I think we've seen Seth and Dean so many times. I'm not going to complain about that because they've always put on good matches. But at the same time, we've only ever seen that one match really with Dean versus Roman for when they were going to go on to face Brock Triple H at WrestleMania 32. And then, because it was Roman versus Dean in the finals, and then Roman won, faced Triple H, and then that's when Dean faced Bork.
Yeah, that was not a good WrestleMania for both Roman or Dean, and God, there's so much more potential they could have had with those matches. If they would have put the no-holds-barred deal with the main event, then we probably would have been like, yes, great WrestleMania match, awesome, these guys are beating the hell out of each other. No, we're just going to have a technical style, but Roman sucks at being technical. Yep, great.
I think the best part of that match was when Roman speared Stephanie McMahon.
That was honestly one of those moments where I'm like, did they actually just do that? A PG show doing this? What?
Right.
Well, it's just, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this Sunday. But we'll get more into that, you guys, when we talk about our predictions. The other thing that went on for this week, we had the whole deal that went on, and I don't know if you've seen the recent interview with one of our favorite wrestlers. I know right now she's kind of now turned into one of those people where it's like, oh boy, I liked you for so long, and now I'm really not liking this. Of course, talking about the situation going on between Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. So basically it started off with Stephanie thinking like, oh, well, Ronda vacated the title, so therefore we'll have Becky Lynch, who has her suspension lifted. She'll take on Charlotte, and she'll have to sign a wholehearted agreement to battle for the Raw Women's title at Fastlane, which already a lot of fans are like, okay, why? And just as we were about to see the contract being signed, we see Ronda Rousey come out and she says, I didn't vacate the title or nothing, so I'll take this back, thank you very much. And then she just decides to go completely into just vicious, almost like Street Fighter mode, where she just decides to just trash on everybody, including the fans. I'm trying to remember what her quote was.
I think it was something along the lines of, like, fuck them all, and including the WWE Universe or something like that.
Yeah.
Not with the F word in there, but, like I think screw them all or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think it was damn the man, screw the woo, and no more being Mrs. Nice Bitch or something like that. And then she, of course, then we see her basically just almost demolish Becky Lynch, locking her in the armbar twice. The first one was like legitimately like, oh boy, this could probably wreck Becky's day. Oh gosh, And then they go into the second, WWE tamed one, which I was just like, well, at least we got a good armbar out of it. Well, we had the chance. Then, of course, Charlotte comes out on Smackdown. She basically talks about how, oh, well, she might not be 100%, so this should be an easy victory for me. To which Becky Lynch decides, yeah, I took every single shot that Ronda has, and I'm still standing here. And she decides to brawl with Charlotte, who tries to do the figure 8, but Becky's just like, nope, I'm just going to lock you and disarm her. And yeah, honestly, it's a pretty decent build going into their match at Fastlane, because now they have Charlotte versus Becky, where if Charlotte wins, Becky is quote-unquote done. And if Becky wins, she is inserted into the match at WrestleMania, which I think a lot of people are just kind of scratching their heads thinking, Becky won the Royal Rumble, though. She should already get that shot. It should be Charlotte who's earning the shot, because she really didn't do that much of anything. But she's Charlotte Flair. She's Charlotte Flair. She did no. This is one of those things where I'm just thinking, I call BS on that. Charlotte should be the one that's earning the opportunity, not Becky, because Becky withstood all the women in the Rumble. She won the right. She gets her shot at Mania. Charlotte should be the one earning it. That's just my opinion on it. What are your thoughts on it?
Like, I don't have a problem with Charlotte. Like, I think she's talented in a lot of ways. Like, it's nothing against, like, her personally. I just think the way that they're building the story is kind of, like, flawed in a way, because they've been doing this for the past couple of years, actually, where whoever, men or women, whoever wins it, they get screwed over, and then all of a sudden they have to fight for their spot that they already earned in the Royal Rumble. Like, it makes no sense to me in that regard. And also, I don't have a problem with Ronda, and I see a lot of people every day on Twitter, like, just giving her so much crap. And in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's annoying, but at the same time, she's leaving after Mania, so I don't know why people keep complaining when we have literally, actually less than a month. It was a month from yesterday, because she's going to go start a family. So I'm like it's kind of frustrating, because I think just having Becky versus Ronda would have been a good enough main event, if that's what they're going to do. But to add Charlotte to it, I'm kind of like, because she's already won the NXT title, Divas title, SmackDown, and Raw. So it's kind of like there's nothing really left for her, honestly.
Yeah, she does seem to have like a really accomplished, career, as you basically pointed out. People can make the argument the only thing she hasn't done is win the women's Money in the Bank and win the women's Royal Rumble. But I definitely do see where you're coming from, because you and I definitely have seen the best and the worst of what we call the internet wrestling community, the IWC, in which people have been either really good, or they have just been, wow, why is this person even having a Twitter account? Just why? I don't understand it whatsoever.
Honestly, the thing that gets me is last year around, I want to say like Survivor Series, everybody was pissed that Becky was not getting these opportunities. And then all of a sudden she wins the Rumble, and everyone's like, why is Becky getting this? Why? Like, all you Becky stands, like this is what you guys wanted. Now that you have it, you're complaining. Like, you could never please some of the people on the wrestling community. It's frustrating.
No, definitely, I agree with you. There's so many times where it's really weird, because pro wrestling turns into some of the most bipolar thing that you'll ever see, where, as you mentioned it, one minute they're like, hey, we want this person to have the opportunities. Now, hey, we're giving you what you want. Why is this person getting opportunities? Why don't we have this person get opportunities? Like, what do you want? What right. exactly do you want? I mean,
like, make up your mind of...
Oh, man. I mean, we make up our minds, no problem. We know what we want, and when we have it, it's like, this is good. Let's just enjoy the ride, stuff like that. And then usually we hit a speed bump, and it's like, okay, we're still good. We're still coasting. But it takes something immense to be like, why is this happening?
Yeah, I think, for example, like, even for me, I'm a little biased, because a lot of people know how much I love being. I have since, oh my God, I think it's been 13 years now. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've stuck by him, even through all, like, the rough bumps he's had, and then getting to FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, or now as it's known as NXT, and then him just getting to the main roster, being in the Shield, winning the titles, etc. And then when he gets injured for 8-9 months and then comes back, and I was totally cool with him being heel. He's actually better as a heel. But then they just turn him into this germaphobe. It's a weird heel. I've never ever seen anyone be that type of heel, and for me as a fan, it's frustrating to see him just be like wasted as a talent. But yet I'm still here. I'm still supporting him, and yet people who claim they supported Becky, and then she's getting all these opportunities. It's like, well, like you can't have it both ways. Like either you're going to stick by this person or character, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, nah, I want this person instead. Like, it just, I don't get the wrestling community sometimes.
For me, I would replace sometimes with like a lot of the times.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I could go on a whole rant about this because I've had a lot of people come and go on my page, which that's fine, it happens. Like, I don't really care about the numbers. I'm just doing this because I'm having fun with it, and if people want to follow me, go for it. I just pretty much tweet whatever comes to my head. But there's people that are like, because I have a friend on Twitter, and she actually lives in Wisconsin too. Her name's Ashley. Okay. She and I interact a lot, and she was going on about how, like, she doesn't open her DMs a lot because there's creepers, and as a female on Twitter, I can contest to that. Not every guy is a creeper, before I continue, because there's cool guys like you, for example, who have been awesome.
Duh.
But she was, like, going on this rant about how there's just creepers and she doesn't have to, and I'm like, yeah, you don't have to answer anyone you don't want to, like it's your page, do what you want. And this guy that I follow, I don't even know his name off the top of my head, he follows me, and he's like saying, well, that's pretty arrogant of you, and I don't get why you don't answer your DMs. And so I had put out a tweet, and I said, if you give her shit, I'm unfollowing you or blocking you. So I unfollowed him because I'm going to stick by my friends. And so he DMs me, and he's like, well, why did you unfollow me? And I showed him the tweet, and I showed him his tweet, and I said, look, this is what happened, and this is what I'm telling you. He's like, I didn't know I had to meet a certain quota to please you. And I said, well, this is the first time we've interacted in over a year, so I don't get why you care. It's just shit like that. It's annoying.
No, I definitely do understand where you're coming from, and I have seen, firsthand, the amount of crap that you gals go through. It's really quite frustrating to see that. So please, by all means, guys, be respectful. Gals, be respectful.
Yeah,
all the above, be respectable.
In any way, I'm not saying it's just guys, because I'm sure there's girls that do it just as much. Oh. I'm not discriminating here. Yeah, it's like, I don't have a problem with most people, but if you're gonna be a douche, I'll probably call you out on it, and that's probably the reason why I get blocked a lot, but whatever. It's
kind of one of those things where I keep going back to, like, the CM Punk podcast, where he just has this phrase where he just says, hey, they have the power to, say these things to me, and I have the power to block them. So, it's one of those things. I
love that line. I was like, Punk's one of my favorites, even though if a lot of people don't like him, I just like how bold he is, and he's where he goes, it's like people are yelling through my kitchen window, and I can just close the window on them.
Yeah, because we have that option. Speaking of douches, that also brings me to the whole deal with Ronda Rousey, where she had an interview in which she basically just goes trashing about the fans, and then she has this nice little, I guess you could call it nugget, whether you want to call it a golden nugget or a dirt nugget, whatever you want to call it, where she basically just calls out saying, wrestling is fake, this is all scripted, and blah, 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 fans are stupid, blah, 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 blah. Basically just trash-talking the entire wrestling community, and it's one of those things where I am kind of conflicted about this because I understand that they're kind of doing this maybe as a way to keep Ronda being heel and having her have all this heat. But at the same time, it feels like one of those things where it's like, is she kind of being a little too emotional about this? I mean, if she's acting about this, bravo Ronda Rousey for acting very well. But if this is her being like completely 100% real, it's like you can calm down just a little bit. I mean, there's some people that air their grievances. I mean, CM Punk is the best example, going back to him. But he never really, until the Colt Cabana podcast really say the whole deal where wrestling is fake, everything's scripted, and blah, 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 blah. No, he just talked about, the main focuses that were bugging him, and he kept it on that. He never really trash-talked wrestling. Unfortunately, Ronda Rousey's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum, where she obviously is getting a lot of trash, so she's getting pissed off at wrestling in general, which might be one of those things where it'll be the ultimate payoff where Becky Lynch beats her at WrestleMania. What? We'll see. I don't know.
I can just imagine the crowd, though, if Becky wins. Oh, my God.
Well, we're both going to be there in that crowd, so
right.
literally.
I feel like after this whole WrestleMania week, I'm not going to have a voice because I'm going to be at NXT, Hall of Fame, WrestleCon, WrestleMania, Raw, Smackdown. Like, I'm not going to have a voice left. It is what it is.
I feel like you're not going to have a voice after WrestleMania, period, because there's probably going to be some really good stuff happening there. But, man,
sure.
But I mean, man, you basically list off the stuff that I'm going to be doing, too. I'm going to be going to the NXT show that's going to be happening, which, honest to God, holy crap. I mean, one of the biggest matches on there is one of those things where it's like, I don't even think we deserve this. I think this deserves to stay on its brand, but definitely don't want to spoil it too much if it hasn't been announced yet. Going to WrestleCon, possibly going to the Hall of Fame. I got some friends that could probably give me the hookup for that. And then WrestleMania, and then after that, I'll be, heading back home. Because I'll just be like, you know what? I'm just going to end it on a high note. WrestleMania, it's good. I'll watch Raw and SmackDown on my TV. I'll be one of those lame fans that does that. Sorry, folks, but I'm probably going to be too partied out after WrestleMania. Holy crap.
I'm really excited to be in the Raw crowd because, that's always insane after Mania. I think it was the year after 2013 when Cena won the title from The Rock. And then, everyone was just, booing him, and then he gets on his heel, and he goes, how about a little heel turn? And then everyone just starts cheering. It was... But, yeah, that's what I'm excited for. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that was also the night that Ryback became Mr. Ryback Rules. Oh, boy. That was a great run by you, Mr. Ryback. Bravo. But anyway.
At WrestleCon, I thought about wearing a CM Punk shirt and walking up to him. Hey, can I have a picture? I thought about it, but I'm like, no, I don't want to get my ass kicked. So
maybe you should just have a shirt that just says, I'm dumb as F. I'm sorry.
Well, the year that Bret, I think it was the same year when Bret Hart was there. And I thought about wearing a Seth Rollins t-shirt because of the whole thing with Sting.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I'm like, no.
Oh, man. That was a good event, too. And I think that was my first exposure to Mr. Anderson. And I also had Kevin Thorne. That was just an awesome event. Holy crap. But WrestleCon in New York is just probably going to blow that out of the water. But I'm not going to diss our ACW Varsity WrestleCon. We got a good lineup, too. Definitely go check out ticket sales. It's awesome. We're going to be there. It's going to be amazing. And I'm hoping that Logan Lynch loses. But that's beside the point. We'll talk about that more when we get to Varsity WrestleCon.
Loser? Sorry. I love Logan. He's a good wrestler. It's just every time he does that, I'm like... our section always makes fun of him, so...
Well, now we're going to be inside with the jokes, so this is going to be a fun event. Oh, boy.
Oh, for sure.
So, obviously, another thing that happened this week is that we have a new United States champion, because for some reason, R-Truth just decided, hey, I'm going to do another open challenge. I did say that I wanted to be like John Cena, but I didn't realize he was going to defend the title every week. But okay, let's do it. So who comes out? We get Samoa Joe. We get Andrade Cien Almas. Yes, I say the full name. I'm not going to say Andrade. Stupid.
That's weird.
It's just, ugh. And then we get Rey Mysterio. And we get a really good Fatal 4-Way. I mean, everybody looked great in here. But in the end, Samoa Joe was just like, yep, I'm taking your title. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe is the new United States champion. Some people are probably thinking, oh, this is a downgrade for Samoa Joe. Honestly, it's an upgrade from what he was doing before, which was absolutely nothing. I think that finally they're giving him a championship to run with. That's great, and maybe he'll bring some prestige to the United States title. And who knows, this might be the second incarnation that we need, where basically they say, okay, we've kind of put ourselves in a corner. Let's put the strap on him. He becomes WWE champion. This is fantasy booking, ladies and gentlemen. Let me dream. I just think that having Samoa Joe as U.S. champion is a good move right now, even though I did enjoy the whole R-Truth deal, even if it was a quote-unquote accident. It was still one of those things where it's like, holy crap, R-Truth just won the U.S. title. This is amazing. He just beat Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura in the same night. Oh, man, his career just was made in one night. That was amazing. And, yeah, I'm honestly super pleased with the fact that we get Samoa Joe. He's probably going to kill R-Truth in the next Smackdown. But, it's neither here nor there, in my opinion. But your thoughts on Samoa Joe being the new U.S. champion?
So, my opinion on Samoa Joe often pisses people off. I don't have a problem with him as, like, a wrestler or anything. Like, it's not that. But, personally, ever since he came up, like, NXT, I loved his stuff. But ever since he came up, I just feel like he's kind of overrated. And the reason why I think they haven't put a belt on him is because of how often he gets injured. And they don't want to risk... Like, they don't want to have a champion that's injured constantly, even. But, like, it's just, I think that's why, and I don't think he's, like, awful, but I don't think he's, like, as good as everyone says he is, personally. That's just my opinion. I don't hate him. It's just, I think he's constantly, when he's not injured, I think he's constantly, like, shoved at us with Brock. I mean, it was funny seeing him choke out Paul Heyman, I'll give him that. But he doesn't win the Universal title, he doesn't win the WWE title, and it's just, I think it's because he's injured too much, and people may hate me for that, or it's okay if you disagree, I'm okay with that, but people often, I actually got unfollowed in the Royal Rumble when I said stuff about Samoa Joe, but again, that's why I like wrestling, because we're all entitled to our opinion, and even if we don't all agree, it's still a good time. No,
definitely. I definitely do agree. I do understand where you're coming from. I mean, I don't necessarily agree 100% with your opinion, but I do understand where you're coming from, because it was kind of the same situation with the Revival, because, they were going to be pushed up and be one of the next, huge major tag teams. But unfortunately, one of them got injured, and then they just kept losing and losing and losing because of the injury, which made absolutely no sense. Honestly, they should have just took the straps off the B team when they had the chance, but that's just my opinion. That's just me. But yeah, it's just one of those situations where I do see where you're coming from. The guy gets injured too much. They're going to be saying, well, he's a little too fragile. That's kind of one of those things where we can't exactly trust him to, carry the company. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why Christian was never really like a top guy, because he got injured in his last run so many times that they were just like, no, we could put him in the world title picture, but no, he's just too injury prone, unfortunately. And he was a huge, player in the Elimination Chamber match where he jumped off the pod and landed on Sheamus, which was awesome. I was there live for it. Good Lord, awesome. That was amazing. But, of course, I think about a couple months later, he may have gotten injured. And I think they were going to do a feud with him and Sheamus at WrestleMania. I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
But, like I said, to your point, the problem is that, if you get injured too much, then you kind of you're kind of out of the mojo. You're kind of out of the loop. You kind of have to build up their trust again. It's kind of one of those things where it's like a reset button. You can have like full trust going into the main roster debut, but if you get injured one too many times, it's like a reset button, and it's just like, okay, I have to gain their trust back in order to reach that, potential, in order to reach that, promised land that we were waiting for. But
oh yeah, for sure, I could definitely agree with that.
Man. So, trying to think here if there's anything else that was kind of standing out for as far as Raw and SmackDown goes. If there was anything else that was crazy, oh gosh, I can't think of anything too crazy that happened this week other than that. We're going to take a little quick commercial break, you guys, and then when we come back, we'll talk about, unfortunately, probably one of the more sad, a lot of very interesting news aspects going into into the week going into Fastlane. But yeah, we'll be right back in just a bit, so stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Nate the Effing Great. Hey, have you ever wanted to be a champion but can't seem to really find the money and the time to get a championship belt? Well, you know who's a really good friend of mine? AJ from AJsBelts.com. These guys have a large assortment of championship belts, from classic belts to the modern day belts to championship belts that you would not even believe. And guys, like I said, they work with you very well. With an awesome layaway program, there is no way that you can beat these guys' prices as well as these guys' deals, especially when you can give them a little bit of money every now and then until you can get that championship gold. Coming from a guy who's a champion and a game changer, I'm indeed Nate the Effing Great. I'm representing AJsBelts.com, proud friends of the Game Changer podcast.
Check out the guys over at Eclectic Media Project. They bring you podcasts such as Musically Challenged. Whose podcast is it anyway? Want to hear something interesting? And their newest podcast, Page 3.14 News. Check them out on Podbean and iTunes at Eclectic Media Project, on their website at www.eclecticmediaproject.com. Check them out as they are the home with a little something for almost everyone.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Pro Talk Wrestling, of course, part of the Game Changer Network. And, of course, you can listen to this on Spreaker.com as well as on Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and on YouTube. I'm Nate the Effing Great, joined here by Taylor Ambrose. This is literally just going to be her name from now on, just because I know how big of an Ambrose mark she is. So I'm just gonna send a random tweet after we're done with this show and just literally be like, be sure to follow at Taylor Talks, this deal, and I'll just say hashtag Taylor Ambrose. That's just how it's going to be. Oh man, I can tell you're going to have a fun time being a part of this network. So obviously, you guys, you heard the music that was playing, that being Tommaso Ciampa's, and as I said before the show, this is going to be heart-wrenching to talk about. But it looks like Tommaso Ciampa is going to be missing out on some action because he will be going in for surgery within the next week or two, to what the reports have said, battling with spinal stenosis, which unfortunately has caused a lot of people to end their careers, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin, Edge. I believe also Paige was also a victim of that, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just one of those things where it's going to really make things harder for him as, he gets older. But, best of luck, and definitely, hopefully the surgery goes well as hopefully he recovers well. To the greatest sports entertainer of all time, Tommaso Ciampa. Honestly, a gift to us that was just delivered. Even when he had a shattered leg, he was one of those guys that was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. This man is going to do something incredible. And about a year later, he becomes the baddest heel that you could ever imagine. And we got a great series of matches with him and Gargano, and even more matches from there. And now we have this, and it's like, oh, man. The greatest thing to come out of Wisconsin since Mr. Anderson.
Right?
And just, the injury bug. This sucks. But I also feel like, when we talked about injuries before, that the fact that, you have to kind of build the trust up again, it's one of those things where I am hoping that this is not one of those situations where, it hurts Tommaso Ciampa's of getting back on top again, because I would love to see him continue that, NXT run, but at the same time I could see him probably going up to main roster after this surgery. Who knows at this point, but yeah, it sucks. Tommaso Ciampa is going to be out, which means that he will probably be vacating the NXT title within the next few weeks, maybe even at TakeOver, and we could be crowning a new NXT champion by the time NXT TakeOver New York happens. So let me pass this question off to you, Taylor. Who do you think should be the NXT champion with Tommaso Ciampa being on the shelf?
Oh, God. See, with the guys getting, that are on Raw and Smackdown daily, it's still, weird to me that, no, they're still part of NXT. I really, really like Ricochet.
Prince Puma forever!
Him or, I know Aleister Black has but I'd really like to see him hold it again. Yeah, those are my top two guys that I really watch NXT for. I mean, of course, there's a lot of other people, a lot of talented people, I should say, down in NXT. But right now, those are my two favorites. I just think when Ricochet's on the screen, you can't really take his eyes off. You can't really take your eyes off of him because just any move he does, it's incredible.
It's one of those things where a lot of people have just been assuming right now that I'm trying to remember exactly that they really assume that, with Tommaso being out of the picture, that the next person that should be the NXT champion should be Johnny Gargano. I don't know. It seems like too much of an obvious choice to make, but it is one of those things where I can understand somebody, doing that because it's a safe bet, because Johnny Gargano is, the big name other than Tommaso Ciampa there. I would honestly love to see them. This would be very unlikely that they would do this, but if they were to actually put the NXT belts as well as the North American belts on Velveteen Dream, I think that would just be one of those things where it's like, ooh, they have that much faith in him, and I like it.
I'm surprised that Velveteen Dream has not had a belt on him yet.
Well, isn't he the North American champion right now?
I was more like talking like the NXT too.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I know he's that right now, but like it just surprised me they haven't put like the NXT championship on him.
Yeah, and I think there's still a little bit more, fuel to go with the Johnny Gargano story. Maybe they can put the belt on him, or maybe they could put a higher belt on him come the main roster, and then we could have him and Ciampa battle on a big headline pay-per-view. Honestly, if somebody were to book, say, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa for the WWE Universal Championship, oh, dear Lord help us, that matchup would probably bring those title belts up to like a next generation of prestige. But I know it's kind of unlikely in this case. But you just never know. You just never know. Let me fantasize for once. Just
fantasize about something else besides Brock Lesnar holding this stupid title. I mean, I'm not salty. No, not at all.
No, not salty at all. Especially when, I will say this, I did get a chance to watch your Q&A video where you were asked the question, who would you stun or any person in your life right now? And you're just like, Brock. Just very little hesitation on there. It's like, yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. I kind of want him to do the same thing that like The Rock would do, where he just flops all over the place, or it's just like a straight up like 3 foot high, like a 5 foot high leap into the air, and he just crashes to the earth. But again, that's just a visual that's just very beautiful at this point.
I think so with the when I did the Elders react to WWE.
Oh yeah.
There was a point where they were showing Brock versus Roman at 34.
Oh boy.
And it was when Roman was all bloody. And I forgot what one of the old people said. I think they said, "Wow, there's so much blood." And I go, "Yeah, it's from Brock's man period." Oh God. All the times I've called him out on Twitter, I'm surprised he hasn't said anything to me, or even Heyman, because I'm not shy of calling Heyman out on stuff.
I kind of do want to see Paul Heyman versus Taylor on Twitter. That would actually be pretty amazing.
I would quite enjoy that. I think my most recent thing was he said the reigning, defending, blah, 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 and I quoted it, and I said, "Paul, you're still using the word defending wrong."
Yeah, it's like defending since when?
Right. And so one of these days I'm just waiting for him to, like, say something to me, but it hasn't happened yet, so.
Give it time. It'll happen. Another wrestler who definitely had some very, very somber and also kind of sad news this past week was the legend from Japan, Jushin Thunder Liger, announced that he'll be wrestling his last match in Japan next January 2020 in the Tokyo Dome, I believe it is. So, Jushin Thunder Liger, it's one of those legends that a lot of people definitely have seen. They've appreciated his work. I've definitely been one of those people that have appreciated his work. Whether I saw him in TNA, yes, I'm talking TNA, not Impact Wrestling, or even when he had that match with Tyler Breeze, which was so good. I cannot believe that they only used him just for that one match. I am surprised they didn't use him for more matches. Even when they had, Beast in the East, I'm surprised they didn't just have him during that matchup. That would have been that would probably sold out so many seats and everybody would just lost their voices after that. Okay, I can understand why, because then people would probably be tired out after that, and then we have Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the title, and all the fans are just like, we seriously can't talk because we just saw Jushin Thunder Liger. It's like, I understand. That's still an awesome match, but I understand.
You're right, yeah. That's another person that I haven't seen in a while.
Oh, Liger?
No, Tyler Breeze.
Oh, yeah.
I miss the Factor Files.
I know that Fandango is actually Fandango. I apologize. He's actually building up to his return, I believe, because I know he's been out for about 6 months, roughly, due to injury. So we may see the Fashion Files back sooner rather than later. Maybe as soon as post-WrestleMania, which, honest to God, that would be amazing.
It would be. And this is actually the Smackdown after Mania. That's going to be my first ever Smackdown Live, so I'm pumped.
Really?
Yes. Man. I've only ever been to Raw.
Wow. So you've only been to like the Raws in like the Green Bay area, Milwaukee area, stuff like that?
Yeah.
What about pay-per-views? How many pay-per-views have you seen?
WrestleMania will be my first one.
Wow. Man, we're just popping a lot of cherries this season. Holy crap. Man.
I'm excited. And then this NXT show, and NXT TakeOver will also be my first NXT pay-per-view. So.
Holy crap. This is going to be a wild ride.
Yes, I'm so excited. And what is it, like, minus 4 weeks?
Roughly, yeah. Just basically just imagine this. As soon as we get through Fastlane, it's going to breeze on through and we're going to be at WrestleMania at this point. It's really going to be a blink of an eye.
Yeah, because I'm leaving on the 3rd of April.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I think...
I'm driving.
Yep, you're driving. Holy crap.
I have to go through Cleveland, so pray for me, guys.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, God.
But
only thing worse than the Steelers is the Browns. That's right, I said it. Let's go. I'd actually rather cheer for the Browns than the Steelers.
But the Miz is from Ohio. And
yeah, exactly. See, if the Miz had didn't have a VIP session at Access, I wanted to meet him and wear my Bengals t-shirt.
Oh, man.
I'm from the good part of Ohio. Nice to meet you.
Jesus. Oh, man. Hashtag trolling Taylor. That's the next one.
You probably hate me, but it's fine. That's one of my favorites, even if he's from Cleveland.
I feel like you want people to love you as much as they want to hate you, especially WWE stars. You just want them to be like, oh gosh, it's you. Just
right. I have a feeling that's how Hornswoggle looks at me.
Oh man. Well, now I think it's just I don't know what it is now. But
Swoggle. Sorry.
Swoggle. Shout out to Swoggle. See you guys. We'll see you guys in ECW.
I don't know if I told you this, but I saw him. Oh God, I want to say it was a few months ago, but I was at Quick Trip in Oshkosh, and he's like, "Oh hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Hey." Like, I didn't even say hi to him. He said hi to me, which is really cool, but...
Oh. Yeah.
I'm famous. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not like that.
Famous. Fabulous. She's going to be on the next Fashion Files. I guarantee it.
Oh, my God. That would be amazing.
All right. So, obviously... Oh, man. Gosh, we're going to go in like so many different directions, but honestly, this is one of the reasons why I'm loving having you on the show. Because you add a different kind of element to it, which I just absolutely love. God, what was that line from one of the Fashion Files when they were talking about they were like he was abducted by aliens or something like that? Where it's like,
oh God, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. It was where it's like, what do they do with you? Anal probes. What? No, wardrobes. And I was like, did they just get away with that? Did you just get away with a butt probing joke? That's not PG.
God, I love the non-PG stuff, though. When they just insert it in there and you're like, yeah, that just happened.
Oh, man. We hate WWE, but we also love WWE. Let's just state that fact right now.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Exactly. All right, so obviously, guys, we definitely do need to talk about Fastlane. That will be taking place this Sunday on the WWE Network for the low price of $9.99 for some people, but for most viewers, you're probably watching it for free on your 4th or 5th email account. Let's be honest. So, obviously, we got a lot to really discuss, and obviously, it's a prediction battle between myself and the one and only Taylor Ambrose, a.k.a. Trolling Taylor at this point. So this is where it's going to be kind of interesting because since I did not find anybody else to participate in some of these prediction battles, I'm going to spice this one up just a little bit between the two of us, and that the winner of this prediction battle will go on to WrestleMania to take on the GC, the Game Changer Champion, in a prediction battle for the ages. How does that sound?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So we have 8 matches to cover. We'll have some extra points here and there to talk about, just so that way things are, fine and dandy, whatever. So let's start off with this first one here. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas in the pre-show. Starting with you, Taylor. Who have you got and why?
Oh, God. I love both of these guys, so it's hard for me to pick one. But I think I'm going to go Rey Mysterio in this one.
Yeah, we're both in agreement on this. It's one of those things where with Rey Mysterio, he's definitely been taking a lot of losses as of late. I think it's finally time to give him at least one victory over Andrade Cien Almas because of the fact that you kind of need Rey Mysterio to win in order to keep the feud going, unless they're trying to do like a Tommy Dreamer Raven deal where it's like, hey, Dreamer never really beat Raven until that one time. He still never won. It's like, well, shit.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, so the next matchup we have on here is for the Raw Tag Team Championships. It's a triple threat match. It's the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Chad Gable and the glorious Bobby Roode. So for this one, I obviously do have Revival retaining the titles. I'm going to have them pinning one of the members of Aleister Black and Ricochet. I think that seems too obvious to have Chad Gable and Bobby Roode do it, but I could be completely wrong at this point. Who knows? So, Taylor, who have you got winning, and who do you think gets pinned?
Yeah, I agree with the Revival retaining. I think it's way too soon for, like I said, I love Aleister Black, love Ricochet, but I think it's way too soon for them to be called up. I think they still have a lot of stuff going on for them in NXT. So I'm going to pick the Revival to retain. However, I'm going to go with the obvious answer, and I'm going to go with Bobby Roode takes the pin.
You're pulling my heartstrings, because it's glorious Bobby Roode, and he deserves so much better. Wait, I just answered my own question.
It's still pumping in the gym. I love it.
Gosh. Can we get back the glorious bombs and maybe have a Bobby Roode heel turn in the near future? Please, WWE. I don't ask for much, except for everything. I'm sorry.
Right, but this one time.
All right, so next up we have the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. The Usos, the Uso Penitentiary, taking on The Miz and Shane McMahon. Just a prime example that, hey, you can pose up to the cops, you can buff up to them, and you get rewarded with a championship matchup. So, Taylor, who have you got, and who do you think is going to be pinned?
As much as I like The Miz, I think the Usos are going to retain. And I think McMahon's going to take the pin.
That might be interesting. I think that'd be interesting. I'll do the opposite end of the spectrum. I will take the Usos, but I think The Miz is the one that gets pinned here, and we see a Shane McMahon heel turn. I think that could be... Yeah, I think that's probably going to happen.
I could see that.
That'd be amazing, honestly. Next matchup, we have the Boss and Hug Connection. Bayley and Sasha. I know. It's sad. They are defending their tag team titles against Nia Jax and Tamina. Obviously, this is kind of a no-brainer. I do think that Bayley and Sasha are going to retain here. And I will go with Tamina taking the pinfall on this one. I think somehow they're going to try and still make it that Nia Jax needs to look strong. And I feel like it's going to be like this CM Punk interview all over again where it's like, no, CM Punk, you're going over. Okay, fine. But you got to make Roman look strong. What the frick? Come on. I get it.
Yeah, I agree with all of... I'm going to side with you on that prediction. I don't know who comes up with these tag team names, but... Nothing against Bayley or Sasha. I can't... What was Sonya Deville and Mandy? Was it like Fire and Ice or something like that?
It's something like that. It was...
Desire and...
Oh, Fire and Desire.
Fire and Desire.
That's right.
Like, come on.
It's one of those situations where it's like, can we speed dial Vince Russo? Because I think he might actually have some better ideas at this point.
Right, because you have The Shield, you had D-Generation X, all those cool names, and then now we're at the Boston Hug Connection. Come on.
The Samoan Demolition Squad or whatever Tamina and Nia Jax are called.
Even worse.
You're welcome.
I don't hate Tamina or anything, because I actually think she made, when she was AJ Lee's valet, I think she made her look really good.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
However, Nia Jax just rubs me the wrong way, personally.
Yeah, I think it just took one punch to the face of Becky, and she rubbed everybody the wrong way.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's that, but, like, Becky's not the only one who's affected by this. Like, a lot of people, she's almost ended their careers. And then she gets on Twitter and she's like, "No, you're wrong," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "No, girl, you need to work on you. Like, go down to NXT, fix yourself, and then come back." Because there's no excuse for that, especially at that level of when you're competing at that level.
No, I definitely do agree with that. I definitely do agree. All right, up next we have The Shield taking on Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, or Bob Lashley, as Roman likes to call him. Taylor, who have you got and why?
The Shield, because it's The Shield. It's their reunion. It wouldn't make sense for them to lose.
I'm going to go with the theory that Fretz, the guy who came up with this idea, actually had. I think that Dean Ambrose is going to turn on Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for massive heel heat. And unfortunately, I think that is going to cost them the victory. So, much as I hate to say this, I think Drew's crew is going to come out victorious in this one. I know I'm dead to so many people.
Oh my god,
oh man, Corbin's faction, Bob's squad, whatever you want to call them. God, I'm going to hire Vince Russo. I cannot believe those words just came out of my mouth. I think I need to bleach my mouth now. I'll be back. No, I'm back. All right, next matchup we have on here is Asuka taking on Mandy Rose for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think we're probably go both in agreement with this. 1, 2, 3, Asuka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Mandy's ready for a title, personally.
Yeah.
Like if she was tag team, I think it'd be a little bit different because she's at least got Sonya Deville. But by herself, I'm kind of like, eh.
No, I definitely do agree with you. If anything, I still think that Sonya Deville is going to be a future women's champion, solo champion, not tag team champion. Although she could pull that off as well. But I think they're going to probably go into the realm of Asuka versus Lacey Evans, which could be a good match. But at the same time, they're doing the whole thing with Eva Marie. But, okay, to be fair, it's 100 times better because it's Lacey Evans. She actually has talent in her pinkies, where Eva Marie did not even have anything close to talent in her entire body. That tells you something there.
Eva.
Oh, God, I can't believe she's going to be at WrestleCon. Why must my weekend be ruined by a redhead? I love redheads. Why does it have to be ruined by one?
No.
Why must it be ruined by one? Let's go into happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. Okay, here's a good happy thought. WWE title is on the line. We have Daniel Bryan taking on Kevin Owens, returning Mr. Hey, I'm going to do the stunner now. Yeah, Taylor, who have you got?
Part of me wants to say Kevin Owens, but another part of me would like to see Daniel Bryan face The Miz at WrestleMania.
Oof. We all want that so badly. We do.
Right. So, but I'm like, is that really going to happen? Like, I'm so conflicted. I'm going to stick with Kevin Owens, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Don't know. I am going to go with the new Daniel Bryan on this one. I think it's going to build up to the match between him as well as Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. Maybe it'll evolve into a four-way, which honestly I think would be absolutely fantastic because you could have Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, and Kofi Kingston involved. I'm just saying that's just a really good matchup. And plus, it would get out of the whole triple threat deal. But even if it's just Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, I'm okay with that. Also, give Kofi the strap. Just one thing. Again, I don't ask for much, WWE. Just give me this one thing.
Right. I don't ask for much.
Except for everything. Just give me this one thing. Oh, man. And I'm proving wrestling makes us so very bipolar. All right, speaking of bipolar, we go into the final match of the main events. Honestly, it should be Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. If Becky Lynch wins, she will be added to the WWE Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania 35. So, I'm going to take a risk on this one. I'm going to go with Charlotte. I think that they're going to find a way to screw Becky out of the match, but Becky Lynch is still going to find a way to get inserted in there somehow. I just think that it seems way too obvious that they would have Becky Lynch go out victorious. And honestly, I think Charlotte really needs the victory in order to even seem like some kind of a threat going into WrestleMania. But I could be wrong. We'll see. So who have you got, Taylor?
I'm going to be obvious and pick Becky. Becky's always been one of my favorites, so I'm rooting for her. I really hope she gets in the match. But we'll see. I will be at work, and I won't be watching it live, but we'll see.
I'll be watching it live from the comfort of my own camera phone.
Right.
But hey, that just means that you're that much of a hardcore wrestling fan.
Right. No, there was one night at work. I was working on my unit, and there was no one watching TV, so I turned it on to Ring of Honor because we get that channel at work.
Woo!
And all of a sudden, a couple of the people come in, and they're like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Wrestling." And they're like, "You mean that fake stuff?" And I'm like, "You watch The Bachelorette. That's way more fake than wrestling is. So I don't want to hear it. Don't even get me started on that. I was pissed. But anyway.
Don't even get me started on those fake boobed, fake tanned, no good, implanting, stupid idiot people that obviously deserve their own chapter on the list of Jericho, even though Jericho says it's dead. Nope, I'm keeping it alive, Jericho. Shout out to Chris Jericho.
Even though Dean watches Bachelorette. No, because I actually really like Renee's podcast that she does with her friend Stacy.
Oh, okay.
And Dean was actually, I'm not going to call him John because it's really weird to me. Dean was on it, and he's like, yeah, Renee really got me into it. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, oh my gosh, I expected so much better, but no, it's okay. Renee's cool, so I don't get why everyone thinks I hate Renee. I think Renee's one of the coolest people, ever.
I haven't really seen anything from you that said, oh, I hate Renee, so I think it's just
jealous of who she's married to, but that doesn't mean I hate her.
That's fair. It's not like you want to send murder threats or something like that. It's like, I will kill you to make sure that I get Jon Moxley. He's mine.
Yeah, I don't think my husband would like that. He already hates. He doesn't hate him. He's just like, oh, your husband's on TV. I'm like, shut up.
Shut up, you're my husband. Yeah, right.
That's my second husband. Renee just doesn't know it yet, so it's fine. Take turns. Oh my god, never mind. We don't really take turns, Renee. I love you.
Shout out to Renee Young. Shout out to Dean Ambrose. Shout out to Jon Moxley. Whatever you want to call him.
Well, it's just it's so weird. When for so many years I called him Jon Moxley, and then he was Dean Ambrose, and I'm like, what the hell? And now I'm so used to Dean Ambrose, and if he goes back to the whole Jon Moxley thing, it's going to be like, what? I'm used to calling you this.
Well, maybe he could be John Ambrose or Dean Moxley or something like that. Who knows?
When he was on Jericho's podcast, they were talking about his names. And Moxley's actually from a Friday Night Lights character.
Oh, nice.
But when he was talking about Dusty Rhodes, because Dusty Rhodes is actually the one who gave him the name of Dean Ambrose.
Oh.
And he goes, Dean, what am I, a frat boy? And I'm like, oh my god. But he's like, no, now I'm so used to it. But he's like, what Dean? What the hell?
Oh, man. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens at WrestleMania, you guys, because we definitely know that Jon Moxley, Dean Moxley, Dean Ambrose, John Ambrose, whatever he'll be in the independent scene, more than likely after the big show of shows. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. But you know something? Even if he just, calls it a career, just decides, hey, I'm just going to spend some time with my wife, I'm going to do some other crazy stuff, totally okay with that. But we'll see what happens with that. So that is going to wrap it up for this edition of Pro Talk Wrestling. Taylor, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being a part of this, and welcome to the family of the Game Changer.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on this team.
And obviously, you guys, you can definitely check us out on our Twitters. You can check us out on Facebook. Also, give us a big old subscribe here on Spreaker, as well as on the YouTube pages that is for the Game Changer, as well as on Taylor Talks. All you have to do is just type in Taylor Talks. You'll find her. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get her up to 1,000. Honestly, let's get her up to that point where she gets that nice, pretty little play button from YouTube, because I think she's earned it. Don't you guys think so? This is not me fantasizing. I'm just stating a cold, hard fact.
What is, like, the first play button? Is it, like, 100K, or is it 500K? Or is it...
It has to be 100K or something like that, so...
Because, I mean, that's really... I mean, like, I'd be cool with, like, getting that far. I think that'd be amazing, but, like, at the same time, I'm really not on YouTube for that, but I still think it would be cool. Like, just to, like, have that accomplishment and hang it up right above my wrestling collection I have in my office.
Let's make this a tour rally, ladies and gentlemen. Make this girl's dream come true. So, obviously a lot of stuff that's going on over the next few weeks. We got WrestleMania week coming up. Also during that week, you guys, in Stevens Point, we have Frontline Pro Wrestling that will be taking place at the Holiday Inn. Definitely check that out. It's run by a fantastic and gracious person who will actually be on this show in a couple weeks. I will have the interview with Ben McCoy, will be a part of the Game Changer podcast in a few weeks. Also, guys, you'll definitely see the debut of myself, of Agent Cooper, Max Beatty, and Taylor, as we will be going down to watch the ACW Water City WrestleCon. We'll have a booth. You can't miss it. I can tell you right now, the banner looks absolutely fantastic. Definitely come on over. Give us a hi. Give us a holla. Let us know your thoughts on the event, as well as your thoughts on the matches. We'll definitely be talking about the matches throughout the entire event, as well as meeting so many great people, including people like Mick Foley, Johnny Impact, Gangrel. There will also be a lot of classic local stars like TW3, Logan Lynch, hashtag Tag Team Move. So many great people that will be a part of that show. Definitely go check that out. ACW Water City WrestleCon will be taking place on April 27th. And with that, Taylor, do you have anything special coming up in the next few weeks as far as, anything that you want to promote?
The only really big thing that I'm going to be doing for the next couple weeks is my WrestleMania package reveal. I mean, it's not really all that exciting. It's just a bunch of tickets, but I still want to show everyone what all it includes and all the fun stuff, and just looking forward to that week. So
it is going to be electric, ladies and gentlemen. So for Taylor, I've been Nate the Effing Great. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.